This is Jenny Rainey, and she's the owner of Sydenstricker Glass, this beautiful glass shop. Tell us what you're all about.
Well, we do glass fusion here. So what we do, and we'll show you later how to do the process, we start with a flat sheet of glass, which we hand cut to a certain size. And then we have hand cut stencils that we make. We'll put a stencil down, sieve the glass powder onto that, which is also jeweler's enamel. And we shade, take that off, do another stencil, build up the design, put another piece of glass on the top. Then we'll take that, put it onto a mold, mostly terracotta, and it will slump and fuse at 1500 degrees. And then after it cools down overnight, then we'll take it out, wash it up, and sign it. And this is how we get this.
This is so beautiful. And so you do these round glass pieces, a square, different shapes, like for dishes and things like that. Is there anything else that you do?
We do tons of things. We make vases. We're just starting to get into resin work, so we love to go to the beach and find seashells and sand and just like little treasures, and then we can encapsulate that into the orb as like a paperweight or something, like that.
That sounds amazing. So how long have you been doing this?
I have been here for 22 years. I started here as a kid, and they taught me how to do it, and I've been doing it ever since. I took the business over in 2017. It's a passion, absolutely. It was meant to be.
And you're right here in Main Street in Brewster, so you get some good traffic flow.
Oh, yes.
Right?
People come from all over the world to come here.
Do you do custom pieces?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we keep that for the wintertime because that's when we actually have time to do stuff.
Who owned the shop before this, and how long has it been a glass shop? Do you know?
This place has been here. Bill Sydenstricker started this in the late 60s, 1968, and it just kept going down the line. So he would give it to the artisans, and then when they wanted to retire, it just keeps going. It's a tradition, and this is a very traditional place. He developed this art, and he went to MIT, and he was doing a lot of studies with metal enameling. So that's when he kind of came up with the idea of incorporating it with glass. It's almost like an old Egyptian art.
Jenny took us down to their workshop where her husband, Adam Wentworth, was hard at work.
What is your stencils made out of?
Sometimes they're made out of thicker cardstock, but basically it's just anything you can kind of cut into. We'll draw out a design and just basically cut into it, and then use that as the stencil.
So now that sand is not
And use the light to look for the shadow. And once we get it in place, then we add our second layer of colors. And everything needs to be done very carefully because it's powdered enamel, as you can see, so very easy to disturb that and get stuff to shift out of place. So this is one of our more popular designs. It's the bluefish design. Very much a Cape Cod sort of feeling to it.
So that's a little sifter.
Yeah. Yep. So this is like a sieve, and we have many grades of this. This has more of an open sort of mesh, and then I've got a few different ones over here that have like for finer details. But this one doesn't really require one that makes finer details. And so just to clean it up, we'll usually take like something with a straight edge here and just sort of make everything sharp before we put the top layer of glass on. That looks pretty alright.
Just don't sneeze.
Don't sneeze.
Yeah, exactly. We like to clean up the glass a little bit with a little bit of water and just scrub it and make sure that there's no like impurities or anything before it goes into the kiln to get fired, because sometimes you get very strange results.
Yeah.
once that is the last step, we'll just use like a dab of a 50-50 like aloe water mix, and that kind of helps everything stay in one place.
Very little.
The last step is to just put the top layer, and you have to do this very delicately and sort of like find the edge with one side and just gently lay it down. And then that's the finished result.
And then that goes into a kiln.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, so how do you get the shape? So you lay that on this and then it melts into the shape.
Right, or a dinner
ooh,
plate.
okay.
Yeah. There's a sink over here.
Now
if you
what
want.
is that? Is it
It's like we get it from a clay pottery place, so it just makes it so that it doesn't stick to the mold because it would.
Okay.
So it's just like a clay powder that we put
Okay.
on there.
What is the degrees? of the-
1500 degrees. So the point is to have it gradually go up in temperature. So we'll bring it to 1500 degrees. At that point, it's soft enough to fuse and slump into the molds.
So do you warm it up and then you must put the stuff in and then warm it up?
Yes, yeah, it all
Okay.
has to be very gradual.
Okay, so you put
Process.
the glass in there, fill it up, close it up, turn it on. It gradually warms up.
And then it gradually cools down
And how long does it stay in there?
overnight. So I'll start the kilns at 8 o'clock at night, and then in the morning it'll be probably around 150, 200 degrees at that point. And then you can just open it up, let it cool the rest of the way.
How long does it stay at 1500?
The firing process is about 2-3 hours. The cooling process is the longest. Right, we just gently place it onto the top
Okay.
and make sure it's centered. And then when we go to fire it later, we'll fill the whole kiln up and we'll start it, and that's when it's going to fuse and slump into that mold. We try and get 4 kilns a day.
So the dishes that had the really scalloped edges.
Oh yeah, see there's just so,
Okay,
there's just,
okay,
yeah, so we
yeah.
got the trays and we got, our cake plates and platters. I mean, we have so many different molds.
Wow. The vases. Oh.
Yeah, you see these pedestals?
Yes.
So what we'll do is we'll create something flat first, like a square.
You do.
Fire it first, and then we do a second fire. So we'll put the flat squares on here, and this one's very tricky. You have to keep your eye on it all the time because it'll start to bend and mold with heat and gravity. So it'll fold, and then it'll fold and folds, and then when you get at the right point, you shut it down, vent it, bring it down to 950, and anneal it for an hour or 2 hours. Pottery,
That's what I thought they were.
Yeah.
in kilns. Well, do you use them for your molds that you
yep,
Yeah.
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 So how many of those would you do in a day?
I'd say 30,
Yeah. Right.
30 a
What,
day,
2 of you? 30?
each,
Each.
Oh, 30.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yep.
yeah.
Do you know of other people that are doing this technique?
No, not anymore. There used to be a long time ago,
There
but
used to be more people doing
yeah,
it.
a lot of many people have they've just retired and
And nobody's passing it on.
nobody's passing it on. It could be one stencil, it could be 27 stencils for one piece. So it really does depend on the pattern and the size. So it could take us 2 minutes, or it could take us a half an hour or an hour to make it. These are cyanotypes. We love to play around with like all sorts of weird things. Cyanotypes. It's called cyanotypes. It's actually an old, you know, if people used to make blueprints. It's kind of like that.
Beth in a stencil. Put her head. Oh, it's an improvement, Beth.
Yeah, the oysters.
Sorry about that.